It is September 3rd, 2024. Oh, God. This message is for Justin Drew Bieber as well. You know, like, Justin, like, you can't pretend to be a black girl and you can't pretend to be a black boy generationally, you know? Like, we all have our own families. Everybody came from a different family, and our family dynamics, they're all different, right? So, I mean, it's our actual responsibility to clear out our own family issues. Right, Justin? Basically, what I'm trying to say is that Justin Bieber, you cannot be on social media pretending to be somebody else's father's daughter. You cannot claim that type of identity, right? Like, he's not a part of my family. When if you look back, everybody came from a family, everybody. And if you look back, based off of our family tree, Justin is not a part of my family, right? Right, Justin? We can both agree that you did not come from my family. So knowing that, okay, Justin Drew Bieber, you cannot represent the Jamaican Jewish generations. You can't represent me generationally, and you cannot represent a black boy or a black girl generationally. You can't represent us. Do you understand? Like, he cannot be on social media trying to represent him as being a black Jewish kid or a black Jewish girl. Like, he can't do that. Like, we're talking about like an inheritance that Justin was never a part of in the first place. Like, my family and my real story with my family, I mean, Justin trying to steal that whole story and trying to claim that type of identity, in regards to trying to steal somebody else's inheritance. Like, you can't do that. That's really illegal, isn't it? It reminds me of, like, when some parents, they'll be married and they'll have kids, and then they'll divorce that wife, and the wife would usually go off with somebody else with their child, and sometimes the ex-husband, they would leave the state, or move to another city or something, and they would start a new relationship with someone else. But the issue deals with the kids that were left behind in the situation. Justin, like, you had no right to be targeting um those children, who come from, past relationships. You have no right to be targeting people like that and stealing their identity. That's none of his business. You know what I mean? That's none of his business. And then it deals with, like, those kids generationally, right? If their father went off with somebody else, and um, sometimes the mothers remarry, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're just in common law relationships. But in terms of that child's right, like, the child still has rights in terms of who their biological father is, right? And their inheritance, right? So, Justin, like, all the stuff you're trying to do against me is, like, really, really illegal. He can't represent us generationally, and he should have known better. You don't do that. Don't go on national television trying to represent us, because you can't represent us. You cannot represent our faces. And you, like I said, we're talking about, like, at this point now, we're talking about like three generations. We're talking about the generations from the 1980s dealing with black Jews, generations from the 1990s, and now the generations from the 2000s. Justin Bieber, you cannot represent me as a black Jamaican generationally that came from the 1980s. You cannot do that, okay? And you cannot represent me generationally that came from the 1990s. You can't do that. And now it's 2000s. We're in this decade now. You cannot represent me in the decade of the 2000s. You can't do that. And the fact that he attacked the next generation of my two children, you cannot represent my two children generationally, Justin. You cannot do that. You cannot attack us for our whole existence. You cannot do that. You cannot claim and lie saying that you came from our family when you didn't come from our family, Justin. You're not a part of my lineage. I keep stressing it. You're not a part of my family tree. There's no association. None. Where's the record? When you okay, if he look at the situation. I'm speaking truths to facts right now. The only recollection I could say in terms of maybe how a Bieber may have connected ancestrally would have been from the war in Germany, maybe from like the 9 to 1800s, maybe. But I mean, in terms of being connected generationally, there's no connection. You know why? Because like if you talk to your old grandparents or any surviving elders generationally, they would tell you those stories. Oh yeah, that those people, and the Lewises and they would make sure they call out the last names, and they would know even like the people. Sometimes they, oh yeah, Sergeant so and so and so, yes, he was da 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 with my grandfather and blah 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 blah. There is no recollection whatsoever generationally when it comes to my family tree. We do not know these Bieber people. And my DNA, like I said, like, okay, have you ever met, like, let's say you meet like someone who's Mexican, um El Salvadorian, and like Spanish, right? Let's say you met someone like that, right? Then because of the mixture of their DNA, you know for a fact that person has rights dealing with their family in Mexico, El Salvador, and Spain. Their ancestors kind of connect, right? And your parents would tell you, "Oh yeah, so and so and so da 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 is your first cousin," and da 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 da. Like you would be able to have that connection, and God would show it too, you know. But like some some past military connection, that's not biological family, and like it would have to be on record, right? Just like I was talking about it before, people when they go off to serve in the military, it's on record that they traveled to this country, and when they were there they were serving so and so and so. So you have there's a recollection of the people that you were around, at the time, right? So like let's say if you connected with certain people, and then they supported you or you supported them, you could say, yeah, we were connected because we supported each other. But in terms of like being family biologically or sharing the same blood, there's no recollection. Like that's the blood separates. I'm just saying this because like I feel like that's how some people act, like, they act as if like they're connected to certain people when they're actually not. You know what I mean? He feels like, oh, just because I'm a black Jew, he's supposed to forever stay connected to me, and that's not true. But now we can see, like, even I can't even say to to connect with him or anything, because those type of people are mentally ill. They're, you can tell based off his behaviors, like he's a violent person. You may come off like on a certain way on social media, but you can see for a fact, like, honestly, like, it's, what is it, September now? Like, if you look on if you look on YouTube and stuff on his channel, like, that's what a narcissist, that's the embodiment of a narcissist. The behaviors where they only see themselves, they don't see anybody else, and they always want attention, has to be the main focus on them at all times, you know. But the issue with that is, like, the issue with that is that he's not being his true authentic self. He's stealing information. He's stealing information, trying to hold a platform that isn't true to his being, his existence. Like, I found weird too. He was trying to, like, birth the kid close to Michael Jackson's birthday. You can tell he was trying to do that, but the blood doesn't even connect, Justin. The blood don't connect. Justin Bieber, Michael Jackson, no, that doesn't connect. Like, I'm really spiritual, like, um one day, it was a couple years ago, I went to the beach and I saw this kid, and I said, "Oh my god, did anyone tell you look like Michael Jackson?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "You look like Michael Jackson." And then he was like, the kid was like half Mexican, half Indian. He was like, he was a mixture of black, but he looked very Mexican, like a Mexican boy. I said, "Oh my god." Like, but the point of me, talking about that is that, like, Michael Jackson, even though he passed away, like, he's still around in spirit and in truth. Like, God, if you're a spiritualist, like, God will reveal that truth about who they are spiritually. And I feel like that's the reason why God made me connect with that kid. God made me see it. Like, yeah, like, Michael Jackson's spirit is here in the state of California, like, the truth of him, you know? And God, people know. That's why, like, even till now, Michael Jackson still gets his respects, because he was true and authentic, and his messages was the truth. Michael Jackson, honest to God, he was never a liar. I don't believe anything they ever said about him. So I'm just like, Justin trying to compare himself to Michael Jackson, like, that's just not gonna work, because Justin, you are a narcissist. Michael Jackson was never a narcissist. Michael Jackson had Neverland. He opened up his whole ranch to taking care of, like, sick kids, and he went around the world giving back to the poor and everything. I'll tell now, people still jamming to his music because he was the truth. He was about something solid, eternal. It was eternal. Michael Jackson. And his spirit is very strong. I'm a spiritualist. Like, Michael Jackson's spirit is very, very strong. You know? He meant what he said. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm just saying this because this just deals with Justin trying to steal somebody else's identity. He's trying to steal my identity to tell a fake story, and it's not true to his spirit, and it's not true to his identity. People need to really do something in regards to these narcissists. I think narcissism is a very dangerous trait to be walking around. After a while, they want people to worship them and stuff. No, Justin, you steal identity. That can't work. They steal money. He steals money and he steals identity. It just can't work. Eh? You know who has a very strong presence in California? Whitney Houston. Actually, most of the stars, like, they're not. Most of the stars, like, their spirit is around. Most of them. You know who has a very strong spirit here? Kobe. Kobe Bryant. What I see spiritually, like, he's mad. There was injustice done in regards to his life, and he's pissed off. All that, it wasn't supposed to happen. What happened to him? It wasn't. Anyway, let me stop talking. But I'm just saying, like, spiritually wise, Justin is living an era, and it doesn't reach any. He has no eternal value in terms of like what he set out in society, right? The message of stealing from a black person coming out of the state of California, that's a very bad message, Justin. Very bad message you put out. I never thought Hollywood was a game. I thought Hollywood was a place where, I thought it was a place where you can respect blood. Blood needs to be respected. But you let this clown in and he's just playing like this. He's pollution. That's the way I see it. Justin's a parasite. The things he posts is like, even the sociopathy, all the stories and stuff he posts, it's all made up. It's all fake, nonsense. It's like bad soaps. It's not no, not soaps. It's just bad. It's wickedness. Yeah. Well, anyway, what I'm trying to say is that he doesn't represent the black Jamaican German Jews generationally. Like we are our own branch in itself, right? When it comes to a lot of people don't understand Judaism, right? But if I base it off of the Christian, let me base it off of Christianity, right? If you go walk around in your community and they have like Presbyterian churches, they have the United Church, they have Anglican, they have Coptic, Christian Coptic churches, they have all different variations of worship, right? So it all comes down to what type of church you came from, right? So I'm just trying to say he cannot represent my sect when it comes to Black Judaism, because we're very unique. Generationally, we're very, very unique. They're just like mad because we have we have high aspects. That's why you want to come and target people like me. But at the end of the day, the face the face can't be recognized. Justin, he can't exist that way in this reality. You know what I mean? Even him, like, if he's trying to code himself to be us, it still cannot be recognized. The coding is recognized as false. Justin's a red flag. It's a red flag. Like, put it this way, I mean, because like I'm a rarity, right? There's not many of us, but I still exist. So it's like my responsibility to we have to be recognized, and God already recognized us. The church has already recognized us, but I think this came down to Hollywood. It's about that strong aspect of being a Black German. It needs to be recognized in Hollywood. Like, Lenny Kravitz is a Black German. What's her name? The Cosby girl, she's Black German. There's quite a few Black Germans that hold their presence in Hollywood. But I guess that what makes me even more unique is because I represent like the island side, the Caribbean Canadian generation. That's what makes me even more unique, because I have even more aspects to me. And Justin, you just can't have that. You can't tell my story. It's my responsibility to clear out my own family issues. And the clarity that needs to be told is that Justin Bieber is not my family. He's not. Who told you were my family, Justin? You're not my family. You know, like, even if a kid was raised in another family, that's their family, but the biological aspects dealing with that child, that's still a responsibility. Person is still responsible to I communicate to a child who their what their identity is and who they are, right? I used to work in social services, so we used to do all those things all the time. Because like I used to work around like a whole bunch of, I used to work around every nation of child. I used to take care of child. So like when it came down to like um we sometimes we had some Japanese kids, so yeah, we had to tell them like, yeah, your parents are from here, and your mother and father da 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 da, and we still had to implement so the kids could keep their language. They learn English, yes, but we still implemented their language and how they communicate. It was a lot of work, but we still did it. Well, we got paid for it. The point is that people like Justin, they just don't understand because like, he's delayed, right? So, like you trying to take upon yourself to try and do the work that other people were set out to do generationally, like it just can't work out, Justin. When it comes to me and my family story, when it comes to my children generationally, this whole stalking scenario thing with Justin Bieber in Hollywood, it just can't work out. It can't. You can't. He just cannot be pretending to be somebody else's child. You can't do that in this life. That's why nowadays, people run so much game to the point where like now people have to. You can tell, especially here in America, they run so much game to the point where they have to literally swipe, do DNA tests from when a child is born. The way how people just be playing games, you know. But I feel like they should do ancestry tests and DNA tests from the day the child's born too. That would eliminate a lot of problems generationally. And that would eliminate a lot of people trying to stalk other people, for their identity. Because like everything, like when it comes to identity, when you look back, like it took many, many generations of our ancestors learning how to develop and God, working with God in terms of like working with developing our identity, because without God we don't know who we are. Without the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, life wouldn't function if God didn't exist. So I even with me saying that, when it comes to this whole stalking situation with Justin, like he cannot exist. He cannot exist as another person. That cannot happen. It is no. Oh Lord. Anyway, that's my message for today. Oh, you know what? I have another channel. It's called Mary Mary. Like I made that channel. I think it was early. I think maybe in 2013 or 2014 or a bit later than that. It was a few years ago. I have to go check that channel. But anyway, on that channel, like I posted as about 3 videos of my son, you know, and it looks like Justin probably like saw those videos, and then because he saw those videos, he decided to copy me. I think that's where it came from. I think this whole thing is just completely crazy. I think he's a nutcase. You know what I mean? If so, what if I want to post my son on the internet? Like, what does that have to do with you, Justin? You know what I mean? Who gives you the right to be wanting to copy? It's the idea. He wants to copy the idea. Who gives you the right to do that? I know that's what it was. I know people probably think, oh no, he wouldn't do that because the name Jack is a very common name. Yeah, it is very common, but the synchronicities of it all, like, no. And the fact that he's trying to, like, from the time that he named that kid, he's trying to posting all these weird videos trying to justify why he did it. Who does that? That's when you know you're lying. Anybody, whatever you choose to name your kid, and then that's it. You don't have to give anybody an explanation unless they ask. If someone asks you, like, oh, why did you choose that name? Well, I chose that name because. But he went up bold. Yeah, my kid is this, and I chose this name because of this. Like, nobody asked you. What the hell are you trying to prove? Are you trying to say that you didn't copy me? I already know that you did, Justin. He's crazy. These people are psychopaths. Like, people can name their kid whatever the hell they want to name their kid. But who gives you right to be copying somebody else based on what they? I remember this girl. When Obama and Michelle went into office, and like everybody was like so excited. Everybody was celebrating. Where I grew up, when the Obamas they went into office, people were partying over it. Like, that's just what it was. You know what I mean? So there was a few girls, like black girls, out of respect for the generation, like they ended up naming their kids Malia. So there's quite a few Malias, but they'll go out and they'll say, like, yeah, but it represents that era. They did that out of respect because, like, they respect Michelle Obama. You know what I mean? That's why they did that. There was a few women that did that. But this whole weird thing about Justin, like, trying to copy my life and stalk my life and to lie and say as if like he's that connected to someone like me is a complete lie. Our genes, like, my gene pool is like completely different from him. Completely. You know what I mean? He, like, if you look at his body structure, like, he got like stick legs, you know. I came from, like, the real authentic Jewish body is a big body. Like, I have the big Jewish body. That's what I it's totally different genes. Even if he is a Jew or Jewish, he doesn't have the big Jewish body. It's two totally different genes. Two totally different genes. Like, when I was in Canada, you just meet certain people and you already know those certain people are part of your tribe. And it's just like here in California. Sometimes I'll walk down the street and I'll be like, yeah, that's my people. Like, we just know. God gives it that spirit to spirit type of connection. Say, yeah. But then when you talk to them, they'll say, oh, I'm Ashkenazi, or I'm from da 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 da. Like, their parents actually broke it down. Like, they actually know their roots. Like, they actually know the actual tribe that they came from. You know what I mean? But this clown here trying to play off like he's a black German Jew, that's not gonna work, Justin. That's not gonna work. God 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 made us all different for a reason, because we all have different aspects to us, and it's for the greater good of society. Right? God made the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. If people can't serve their identities in their